Let's see here. This is Chris Lucas, also known as Liquid Smooth. I just kind of wanted to test this out a little bit. Let's see what the sound quality is like. Today's, let's see here, 12 December 20th, 2020, about 3:30 a.m. in the morning. I work a night shift, so I gotta stay up late. Kind of turn it down. It is late.
I started getting down on the dance floor, yeah, I knew that you were the one. Yeah, I need you. Yes to me, baby. Yeah, we started out as friends. Yeah, then we became lovers. Yeah, can you understand me? Yeah, I want you next to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love with you and for you will be so true and unforgettable. The way you look at me and I look at you when we connected, I knew that we would intertwine our minds and come up with something so intelligent and so of love. Maybe we can go beyond stars, travel to other countries, Paris, Africa, Brazil, Hawaii. We can travel beyond the moon and stars with our love and each other's hands. Can you understand, baby? I want you next to me.
Yeah, I was just kind of bored, and no one was in the room, so I was seeing if anyone was gonna go, stop by. But hey, it was good to see you, Iva. Hope if you're in the room, if you left, hey, nice seeing you. And you didn't even hear it. So, um, yeah, I didn't even have that set really arranged quite right. So it sounded to me, it sounded way off. I haven't even DJ'd in a while, and in my mind, I'm thinking I'm magically gonna get it all together. And I guess when I actually start it sometimes magic just doesn't happen. Um, I don't know if it sounded bad. I'm still trying to even see if I don't even know if this microphone picks up everything right. And that's what I was mainly testing. So, oh, really? Okay. Well, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. Um, it could definitely sound a lot better, like those. Because if I DJ just right, I know how to like arrange things to where if you keep hearing one sound too often, it just dulls your ear. It dulls your ears. It doesn't sound as pleasant to you. And it's like I understand like if you how to just quite mix the sounds. Like I'm not like the most skilled technical DJ, like sitting there and cutting all the beats and doing all the record scratching, but like I do understand like okay, if I play this one record, I know your ears get set a certain way, and sometimes you're like, man, I kind of want to hear some bass, and then if I drop in like the best bass line you ever heard, it's gonna sound extra good, and so it's like I try to like set it up like that. That's probably what I'm really good at, and that was a little off. I had like a little moment where it was pretty good, where I mixed in that aha track, that take on me, and it had like that little thing. I like that little part I did, but as far as the rest of it, yeah, it was kind of missed. So, but appreciate it, man. Appreciate the comments, man. But I'll definitely have something. If I ever do that again, I'll arrange it a little bit better so people get a better sense. But like I said, I'm not the most skilled. The only reason why I learned to DJ was, man, I go out dancing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I just want to learn how to match some beats, and maybe I can get a crowd to have a rebellion and throw the DJ off the tables and just let me spin. And I would always take my records and stuff to places and take my or whatever I used. I mean, used to carry around crates of records in my car, thinking, oh man, the next time I hear a bad DJ and I drive like 100 miles to an event and the DJ is just like playing just trash records. I mean, they would have skill, but they would just play trash after trash after trash. I'm like, what good does it do, man? So I was like, I mean, one time I actually did manage to like throw like a rebellion at a party, at like a rave. Like I was like, man, dude, I can't take it anymore. I said, man, I bet like if all you girls like got around me and we walked up to a DJ booth, I bet you we could throw them off. Because my dad was, this is crazy, man. Like I go to this one rave and I managed to get like these like 20 really super beautiful girls to follow me around. They had like 3 different stages. And there was about like 20 super beautiful girls that just walked around with me and agreed to do this because we were tired of hearing this music. And I walked up to the DJ booth and they were all happy. Like they started getting all psyched up. And I was like, hey man, you think I can spin next? And they were like, well, we see this crowd coming up and man, dude, we'd like to spin for them. I'm like, well, here's the thing. I told them I was under the impression I was gonna spin next, and they were like, "Well, who the hell told you that?" And I was like, oh, the one guy over there, man." And next thing I know, I was up. I actually got on the stage, and I could tell these people hated me a little bit. And I got on stage and played some good music for a while. And they let me get up there for about 20 minutes, and then they pushed me off, and then after they pushed me off, they started playing their trash again, and everyone walked away. But so I did manage to have one DJ rebellion like that. So, because I don't know, man. Like if I go to like when I was younger, I'd be on like ecstasy or mushrooms, and I was like wanting to get real deep into this like spiritual love. I remember hearing these people just play the most rancid trash lyrics and And I'm like, dude, this is not where anyone's headspace is. So, oh yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool. You're like that. That was like one of the, I don't know. It was kind of a fun moment, kind of an awkward moment for me. I know I developed a lot of enemies that day. I still had like a lot of people like me there because like I had like a vial of something and like let everyone have it and but I mean that was years ago and but anyway. So so what's going on with you all tonight? Anything good popping up, popping out, whatever? You know, any new news? Guys just chilling, bored, see I was on, decided to stop by. Or find something something interesting to maybe talk about. Let's see here. Well, I never really know what to talk about or what people are interested in. I tell you what, hey, do you know, since people did stop by while I was playing music, I could play the best band that ever came from Indiana that no one knows about. I played one track. You know, I'll just play like a little snippet of it. There we go. That way I don't bore people too much if they don't like it. But we had a really awesome band in the 1990s called Arson Garden from Indiana. And I think they were one of the best bands ever. I sort of thought that girl was so beautiful just because her band was so awesome. I have the biggest crush on her, but her brother's actually really awesome. And he sings also. I'll just go ahead and just play just a little snippet of one of their. Here, this is her brother singing. I'll just leave it there halfway, give you guys a little taste. But like, man, it's her brother only did like 2 songs where he's singing and he does most of the backups. But you know, now that I think about it, man, he was really awesome, and that's him playing guitar too. Like he was a great guitar player too. Or at least I really loved his stuff. Thought it was like amazing, and it was like it's like the brother and the sister were like the 2 singers, and I don't know. I thought it gave it kind of like an extra wholesomeness, and I thought it was kind of cool. I just kind of liked music that was really good and wholesome, which was really rare, especially like in the 1990s. If you remember all that like trash they were trying to push on us on MTV, and obviously, like they were a good band, but they weren't with a major record label, and major record labels pay to have the trash played, and these other people, if they don't pay to be on air, they're not on air. So, but I thought they were the greatest band that ever came from Indiana. So anyone ever, into music wants to check them out. I'll kind of scroll down so you can see the name, but Arson Garden would be the name. 37 views. That's insane. Well, I guess they've only been up this whole year. I guess they decided to finally put their stuff up on the internet. But man, only 37 views. It's so insane to me because I think they're one of they are the best band that ever came out of Indiana. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. But I would on that same that's my favorite album too, is Under Towers. So just I don't know, just kind of thought I'd throw it out there. Oh, Leah, hey, I didn't even know you would still be here. I wasn't sure because it's like my mixing wasn't up to at least my standards, which I don't really think is too high, but it still wasn't up to my standards, and I didn't know if I might have drove you off or drove you away from the DJing I did. So nice to see you stuck around. Yeah, I mean, it's like I mainly like dance music, now, but still get, I don't know, it's like I still get into certain bands, Joy Division, Cure, and like if you like punk, one of the best cyberpunk bands that ever came from Indiana. Well, the only cyberpunk band I know of was called Modern Vending. They're pretty interesting. Oh, you liked it. The stream shut down. Okay, well, hey, thank you. I mean, I appreciate it. I tell you, Pixies is a pretty decent comparison. My wife said he sounded like Radiohead, but way better. I guess she liked him way better than Radiohead. She's from Florida, so she never even heard of this band. I don't even think anyone outside of Indiana hardly heard of them. That's the real shame of it all. But yeah, the one thing is, when I did that set, I wish I would have did more. I could have done more like the aha type when I mixed in like that aha with it and had like those really nice vocals overlaying music better. But I was kind of throwing random things down. So I wasn't sure how it was coming across because it was a bunch of stuff that I never mixed together. So I wasn't sure how it comes across to the ear. Because like I said, I'm not the most skilled guy, but I'm trying to like sensitize people's ear to one thing, and then when I drop the next thing, it sounds better. So, all right, cool, Jeff. You say you listen to all types of music, but mumble rap and pop. Yeah, I cannot get into pop. I'd like to rap a little bit when I was a kid, but it's like no matter how clever the rap is or anything, it's real hard. I mean, I had like one friend I knew that could do some decent rap and get deep with the lyrics, but I can't even remember his name. But he, oh, I remember this guy. Oh my gosh, 50 Futuristic. I think that's what his name was. Fitty Futuristic. FITY Futuristic. Oh my gosh, I saw this guy open up, and the crowd. He's this Christian rapper, and somehow he opened up to, I think it was like a Tribe Called Quest, and he had all these like gangster dudes in this club. And I was just bored. There was like nowhere else to go. And I was like, man, I'm so bored. I guess I'll go here because one of my friends is going to be here. And so I see this guy, Fitty Futuristic, and he starts rapping on the mic. And I was surprised that the crowd didn't kill him because everything, like, I mean, if you were listening to him and could understand what he was saying, man, he was just kind of ripping basically probably like the lifestyle of everybody in that crowd apart, man. And like all their whole gangster mindset and just totally like setting them straight if they could even understand. And that was one of the most interesting things, is just to hear that dude rap in front of like, I don't know, like a bunch of like dudes that thought they were all hardcore. And it was like some white guy too doing it. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, I guess, you know, they must have been kind of humble, either humble or they just were too out of it to hear what he was saying. But so I'm just kind of looking up one more thing because I thought there was like, oh, martial law. Like someone told me Trump declared martial law today. A real switch off from the music back into like all this kind of reality stuff. But trying to. But heated over Oval Office meeting included talk of special counsel martial law as Trump advisors clash. His President Donald Trump convened a heated meeting in the Oval Office on Friday, including lawyer Sidney Powell. And that Sidney Powell's kind of weird because she keeps dropping all these like cube breadcrumbs type of thing and riling that whole Q crowd back up and playing into that whole I don't know, delusional Q mindset for those Q believers, and keeps dropping more things in there to fuel that. On Point Preparedness did a good video talking about Sidney Powell. I don't think that's the title of his video. I can't remember what the title of it was, but he did a couple of them where he brought up Sidney Powell and all this like Q stuff associated with Sidney Powell. But anyway, lawyer Sidney Powell and her client, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, two people familiar with the matter, said, describing a session that began as an impromptu gathering but devolved and eventually broke out into screaming matches at certain points as some of Trump's aides pushed back on Powell and Flynn's more outrageous suggestions about overturning the election. Flynn had suggested earlier this week that Trump could invoke martial law as part of his efforts to overturn the election that he lost to President-elect Joe Biden. An idea that arose again during the meeting in the Oval Office. One of the people said it wasn't clear whether Trump endorsed the idea, but others in the room forcefully pushed back and shot it down. The meeting was first reported by the New York Times. And okay, I guess they were pushing back on Powell being suggested as being a special counsel to investigate voter fraud. Another idea floated in the meeting was an executive order that would permit the government to access the voting machines to inspect them. Okay, that's not really exactly declaring martial law like some people were saying. I mean, maybe he's thinking about it, but he hasn't done it. Okay, Leah says, when Donnie called state of emergency that put FEMA and UN in control. Or, I wasn't really sure. I never researched that, so I didn't know that about the pandemic emergency order. Well, I guess, man, they have like a chaos after the election. I guess FEMA and the UN would still be in control of America till all that chaos settled down. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I always kind of wondered if they were going to use that as a way to get UN troops onto U.S. soil, have like a chaotic, contested election, and then you have to have UN troops on the soil until they get it settled. You know, maybe, I don't know. I floated that idea out of back, and I kind of went away from it, and yeah, I agree, Jeff. We have already lost most of our rights. And Jeff says he didn't vote because he didn't want to vote for any evil. And yeah, I had a real hard time bringing myself to vote just because when I moved, it was so close to election, and I didn't want to deal with the license branch and the whole mask thing. I wasn't sure how people were around here. I wanted to get a feel for it. And I didn't want to, like, I had to go out of my way, and I just didn't want to go out of my way to go to a license branch to be told I'm forced to wear a mask. So when I actually did have time to go there and get my license changed, it was like about a week or two after the election. And but anyway, and everybody who I helped get on the ticket that was legit was like little offices, and they were back from where I moved away from. So I helped get all those people on the ticket, and I couldn't vote for them anyway. So, and I didn't know anyone out here, and I assume these people aren't worth much out here, just because they're allowing that mask mandate. They got like a lot more control in this part of Indiana and Brownsburg, it looks like. Yeah, the lockdown. Yeah, I agree, Leah. The lockdown is martial law. So, Leah, you say the UN troops are here and been for quite a while. Let me just kind of curious. UN troops in America. Well, that's kind of weird that on June 19th, 2020, someone said now it's theoretically possible the UN could send Ethiopian and Rwanda troops in a police action to protect human rights in America. But I don't see like anything about actual UN troops being here. Or, well, maybe I spoke too soon. Putting a final end to the denial of UN troops on American soil. Yeah, well, that looks kind of interesting. I'll just kind of read a little bit of that. Where's that? There's one part I particularly want to read. Oh, it must have came from someone's comments. Oh, boy. I really want to read that person's comment, and that looked like it made a lot of sense. Or just kind of search for it on that. So that's the part I wanted to read. Oh, here we go. Okay, it's part of the article. Would a military publication suffice as proof? Well, that evidence exists in Obama's last act of formal treason against the country, and immediately after the 2016 election, Obama, the United States agreed to allow UN peacekeeping troops to forcefully enter the United States and use force to protect civilians in armed conflicts, according to this Military Times report. So, the United States has announced its support for a set of principles that gives a green light for UN peacekeeping troops and police to use force to protect civilians in armed conflicts. U.S. Ambassador Samantha Power told a high-level UN meeting Wednesday, focusing on the responsibility to protect civilians, that the United States was proud and humbled to join 20 other countries that have pledged to abide by the 18 pledges. UN peacekeepers from these 29 countries are now required to act in cases where civilians are in danger. The Kigali principles are designed to make sure that civilians are not abandoned by the international community again, she said, recalling how the UN peacekeepers left Rwanda before the 1994 genocide and Srebrenica before the 1995 massacre. So, well, I don't know if they're here, but I mean, they definitely, I guess would U.S. civilians be in danger if there was a contested election? Would that give them a right to bring UN peacekeeping troops here? Could they use that as an excuse? I don't know. We have lost everything. Leah Lawson says we've lost everything, including the ability to work, to take care of ourselves, and the ability to breathe without a ritual slave mask to buy food. Are you from? You're from America, right, Leah? I just want to make sure. Just as that was a George Floyd issue, that's why I advocate for Second Amendment, the 2A. I have guns and ammo, and hope everyone else does. You know what? I'm bad at it because I have one gun and a little bit of ammo, and it's really not enough. And part of my problem is the people who I used to be able to get guns from without having to have a license, because I went into a gun store one time and they're like, well, do you got a license? I'm like, what? I said, I don't, like, I'm a U.S. citizen. I shouldn't need a license or a permit to get a gun or buy a gun, and I shouldn't need any. I mean, the fact that I'm just walking around, your store, I mean, unless I'm a criminal, I should be in jail. If I'm not in jail, I should be able to get a gun. And he wouldn't sell me a gun. So I've always bought guns from just other people I knew, and I've never had a permit. And that's just one thing I just cannot bring myself to ever get is a permit or go through any kind of system where I have to go get a permit to go get a gun, because I feel like I have a right. And I just I know maybe some trouble happens at some point over it, carrying a gun without a permit. I don't know. Because as far as I know, though, I got a constitutional right. That is my permit. So maybe it's a little reckless. I don't know. No one taught me any different. Leah Lost says, I can't. The I can't breathe dude was the beginning of this BS. Now none of us are allowed to breathe. Says she keeps those lead freedom seeds handy, and Jeff says, I'll keep breathing. They can choke. I wish they would wear 3 masks. Jeff says, they just need to wear plastic bags on their head. Well, it would keep the virus away. I mean, and it stops the airflow. I mean, that's the whole point with the mask, right? Reduce the airflow. And it's not reducing the virus. I mean, that's not the point. All right, cool. So Leah's from Nevada, Jeff's from Florida. Man, I wish I could move to Florida. Kind of like I don't know. I always thought New England might be nice to live at. I would think. I don't know. I almost moved to Nevada though. When about maybe 10 years ago, I thought about moving there. Thought that would be nice. It looked like, I don't know. I just want to move to some place that was warm. And I guess you don't pay taxes. And well, do you pay taxes in Nevada and state taxes? I know you don't in Florida, but wow, they wear a face mask in Nevada. That's like, see, I don't like. I'm surprised they didn't complain about it more in Florida or um in Nevada. I mean, it gets pretty hot there, man. Like, all right, cool. So you don't pay taxes and state taxes in Nevada. But man, I'm really surprised if anyone would like go for that in Florida or Nevada, like these super hot areas, and let the government make you do that. Because I know here, man, when it got hot, I mean, at least at my work, we were flipping out about it, and they kind of like let it go, and like so we basically got to do it for like a couple of customers, and we can basically have it just dangling from our chin, and we don't have to like cover our faces. Because to be honest, I couldn't handle my job if I had to wear that thing full time. I think I would have. I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have wound up having to sue someone. You take one of those oxygen level meters, which I still need to buy. Because it's like I'd like to take and be able to buy one of those. It's just my finances just keep getting offset by just enough to where I never have that extra $100 just to throw on an oxygen level device that I shouldn't need. It's so hard for me. Like, I'm kind of a person that doesn't like to spend like money on things I don't need, and in my mind, I'm like, I shouldn't need this, but I guess I got to get it anyway because I got to prove a point to people that your oxygen levels drop when you wear a mask. Because I always figure if I have that on me and I walk in a store and they're really hard about it, and I'm like, HIPAA, and it's like, let's say there's ever a time when just saying HIPAA doesn't work and they don't let me in, I like to be like, okay, do you got a mask that I can breathe out of? That can give me, the required oxygen levels I'm supposed to have, according to OSHA. And if they hand me a mask, I want to whip out an oxygen level device, stick that little tube up under the mask, start breathing a few times and be like, let it go off, let the alarm sound, and be like, hey, man, what's going on, man? Oh, my gosh. My oxygen is too low. I'm freaking out. Can you give me another mask, or are you going to tell me I got to like shop with lowered oxygen levels? Like, you're going to force me to shop in here with lower oxygen levels. Is that what you're telling me? Hold on, let me whip out my phone and record this as you're telling me this. And then like, really, push someone on it. I tell you what, I think if they would have done that with me at my job, or the customers would have done that to me to make it to where maybe I couldn't work and I had to wear that mask over my face, I would have already did that, and I would have went on ahead and said, so you're telling me I gotta work with a mask covering my face and jam this oxygen level thing up under it, and like, so you're gonna make me work with lower oxygen, right? We both see this thing saying it's 17 to 16%, because once you start moving around, I think it drops even lower. Whenever I see these guys on the internet do this thing and they stick that thing up under their mask, they're sitting down. What happens when you're jogging around or you're lifting heavy boxes, pulling pallet jacks around, if you're working at a warehouse, carrying, doing all this stuff? It's like, I bet it drops lower than that. So So Jeff says he is originally from Long Beach, but left in the 90s. Lady Lawson says the sinners are scared to breathe. I'm the only one in the store without the diaper. Oh, that's good for you, man. That's how it is for me here. Like, it wasn't like that. And I was really surprised from the area I moved in because there was a lot of us not wearing masks all through it, even when the stores first did it. And then all of a sudden, once you start seeing those big signs being placed on the stores, people all of a sudden thought you had to obey it, and start putting, oh my gosh, there's a sign saying by governor's order and I got to do it. And I'd still, look at the sign, put my finger under it, let them know I read it and walk on in, and, but I mean, good for you that you're not going along with this at all. I mean, because there's a lot of people that go, well, they're forcing me to, and I'm pretty sure most places they got these huge mandate signs, but they don't do nothing for it to you. I mean, like I took my kids to this go-kart place one time, and they had them as probably like 20-foot long. Like, I mean, it was like a ridiculous big sign saying mask required on the fence as you drive into their place to go to their go-kart place. And I would say that sign was probably at least 10 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet high at least, maybe about 14 feet long and 10 feet high. It was a huge mask required sign. And go in there and I had no mask on. And once I walked in there and I was walking around, I saw other people take their mask off. They're like, yeah, I think this is stupid too. And they just took theirs off. But I guess everyone felt like you had to do it. Yeah, that's a shame about Florida, man. Them jacking up the cost of moving out there, especially all those New Yorkers. They got more money to spend there moving there. So they're bringing like their baggage to Florida. I hope they just don't ruin that place. Florida's my ideal spot I would love to live in. I'm hoping to move out there. My wife's parents are from Florida and live in Florida, so I'm hoping to move back out there. She's from like Cocoa Beach. Oh, good for you, Jeff, not wearing them in public either. Even if your job requires you to, but you and your coat, dude, that is awesome. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I need to ask my boss. He just says he's already told his boss if they require the vaccine, he's quitting, and I need to talk to my boss about that too. Because if there's no way I'm doing it, I like risk your life for something that's got a 99.99% survival rate. You're gonna do the experimental vaccine, and then if you use ivermectin and you got good vitamin levels, you shouldn't die at all. Leah says the brown coats at the door hand out mask. Isn't it contaminated by their hands? Yeah, that's a good point. Also, where are the red buckets to dispose of the deadly mask? The masks are all over the parking lot. Yeah, shit. That's another thing. Shouldn't it be like hazmat containers sitting around? I mean, they make it sound like it's the most deadliest virus in the world, and it's just a lot of mixed signals. So he says it does reduce your oxygen and does manual labor, so he can't wear one. Plus, he's claustrophobic. And he says, I mandate breathing. That's a good one, man. It says there is exceptions in the mandate for that, Jeff. Also, the Disability Act is law and the mandate is not. Yeah, that's another thing. If I walk into a place, I do say, if they don't stop me, if they try to look at me about when I say HIPAA, a lot of them will be like getting ready to say one more word to me, and I go ADA, and they stop. I don't, and so far haven't had any trouble. I had one person that looked like they were going to challenge me, and then it's like I was about ready to tell him, man, go get your boss. We need to have a word. Because my whole thing after that is because I used this at this one job I used to have where I had these employers that were trying to harass me. And I know why they were trying to harass me to quit because they didn't like working with me because I just like whenever there was something really dumb at work, I just wouldn't do it. And on top of that, it's like I don't think it's like, but all my coworkers liked me because they didn't want to. They thought it was stupid too, and so I'd make a point to like not do it, so we would all have to not do it. And so my work one day tried to like pressure me one day, and like I could tell they were treating me differently than other workers. So I said, you know what, I'm going to sue you for harassment. And I said, guess what? And he said, and he made it look like he was still going to write me up for something stupid. So I go, okay, let me get this straight with you. If I'm not suing the company, I'm suing you. You, like, the company's not going to be involved, and you're going to have to defend yourself. You're going to have to buy your own lawyer. Because guess what? The company will not supply you with a lawyer when I sue you for harassment, because that's going to be you and that's going to be on you. And they left me alone. They stopped writing me up. Oh, because they knew what they were writing me up for couldn't even be proven, because it was like hitting some stupid, ridiculous production goal. And it's like I had a job where it's like if you're put in a brand new situation every single day, and with totally different variables at your job every single day, how can you hit the same number every day, the same exact number, if everything about your job changes every single day? Like, and I was like, and you're going to write me up because I didn't hit a production number, and everything changes, and everyone, you could see me on the video cameras that I'm actually like jogging up and down the floors and everything, and no one else is jogging. I'm jogging around trying to do my job as fast as possible, just because I'm trying to stay in shape too. And so I said, I mean, that's one thing I think we can also do for some of these mask people. These people that want you to wear a mask is, if the employee comes up to you and HIPAA's not good enough and ADA is not good enough, and they still want to wear a mask, say, I want to know your name, and because I plan on suing you. And if you don't want to take responsibility for trying to enforce this, go get your manager, because I want to know who he is, and I want to sue him personally. And so before it ever gets to that point, like they just went on ahead and was like, okay, I just don't even feel like dealing with this dude. He can just go through my shop and do whatever. But oh, so Jeff says he's from Central Florida. Okay, cool. So I'm not really sure what that whole area is. I know Orlando's a little bit central. That's about all I know about Florida. I know where Orlando is, and Cocoa Beach, and Jacksonville is, and Miami, and I don't know much more. And Leah says all employees are going to have to stand eventually or not. Well, Jeff says, Walmart lady said I needed a mask. I said I'm good. So did my wife. Then she said they require us to. I said okay, and kept going. Jeff says, how do you produce if you can't breathe? That's a good point. Yeah, I do have like this forum posted up on my website. I don't know, most people probably know about it. In case there's anyone new watching. Just type in my website real quick because it's right on there. Just to show people I do got like certain forms, and Yeah, right here I got this link. It says mask, OSHA safe oxygen levels, CO2 levels. This is gonna look different on a cell phone or different phones, but I do got this is an article called, and it's and OSHA's minimum standard for oxygen is 19.5% oxygen, but this one guy who his profession is making sure places are safe, have safe oxygen levels. He wrote a whole article showing how, depending on where you are, 19.5% oxygen levels aren't always safe. And he told a story about how this safety guy and two other people go into this spot, and I guess they died, and he found them the next day, and they were dead. But it had 19.5% oxygen levels. But I got this thing right here, minimum oxygen requirements for humans. Or wait a minute, this isn't the one with all the stuff on it. That's just another. It's a good article. That's not the one I'm looking for. Oh, effects of various. Okay, I got this off of like a site that sells oxygen detectors. I mean, you can get this same info right off of OSHA's site, but I just kind of liked how it was just nicely laid out. So I went to their site, and because I just it's more spaced out, easier to read, but they tell you right there, maximum safe level for oxygen is 23.5. Normally it's around 21. That's what you should really aim for, is right around 21. 20 to 22 is what you're aiming for, and then 19.5 you're starting to get real dicey once you get that low. And then 17% impairment of judgment starts to be evident. And then 16% first signs of anoxia appears. And then 16 to 12% breathing and pulse rate increases. And that's what happened to me at my job. When the first time they tried to do this, I tried to go along with it the first day. And I did it and man, like, for 20 minutes, I had to do this one specific job, and I had to have a mask. And they wanted me to have a mask on while I did it, and I thought I was going to have a panic attack. And I never wore that mask over my nose ever again after that. And it's like, my job's not one that you need someone having a panic attack and thinking about other things, because you do one thing wrong, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to kill a bunch of other people. If you do one thing wrong, you're definitely going to lose your job. And if you do one thing wrong, you could actually kill a lot of people, at least kill yourself. At minimum, you're at least going to do one thing wrong, you're going to cause about $10,000, $20,000 worth of damage. So I can't believe they're trying to make you wear a mask there. Yeah, Leah says companies are administering medical advice without a medical license, IMO. So is the government. That's true. Also, administering medical devices. I think a face mask. Is that? Oh, okay. So you saw that one video that I did where oh, okay. Maybe you're talking about. I think you're talking about something else. So you had to do enclosed space training. Okay, I see. You know what? Yeah, I don't think it's a. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not about the mask and the vaccine. I think there's ultimately a eugenics purpose to that. I mean, just with the people that are running it, it's kind of weird that all four of the people running this whole thing were all involved with experimenting on foster children, like Burks, Fauci, what's his name, Solani, or God, you can't think of that. I think he's a Muslim guy. I'm not sure. That's part of the whole thing. And Redfield, all four are guilty of experimenting on children from a couple of articles I was reading. And I think the ultimate goal is to do something that does something to the children or to your offspring. Because I mean, it's like they seem like, why would you ever test anything on children? I mean, why would they even be going after children in the first place? I mean, why? I mean, why is there like a hearing on the protection of children for experiments, foster children for experiments? Why did Congress have that hearing? I mean, why? You know, masks are their training to condition people to comply and then take the vax with a smile. Yeah, I guess because you want things to go back to normal so bad, but Fauci said it'd never go back to normal. I don't know if anyone ever saw that clip. I could play that one, but Fauci said that they plan on. He said that even after the vax, you should wear the mask because it's not going to be 100% effective. And now you're seeing that, hey, even when you get the vax, and this is said by every single medical doctor I've heard online, even after you get the vax, it doesn't mean you're not going to get the virus. You're still going to get the virus. You're just not going to get as sick. It helps prevent severe COVID. And, the issue I have with that is how do you know? We don't even know what the PCR cycles were set to. And we all know, if you set them to like more than 30, you start getting more false positives. And you set them up to 60 and you can get a false positive every single time from what I understand. So Jeff says they like to kill innocents, and that's exactly it. Not only just kill, man, I mean, that is just torture innocents. I mean, it's pretty depraved. I mean, it's like the whole thing where it's like, back in the 1946 to 1952, they fed retarded teens radioactive cereal to test it on them and see what it does. And it's like, I used to work at like a group home with mentally disabled people. And no matter how old they are, they're like sweet little angelic children almost. Like, you're talking about like some of the like really like, I mean, it's sad. It's almost like babies. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna feed these babies radioactive cereal. It's like it just sounds so sick, And it's like, if they can do that to people, I mean, and people are going to trust them with a vaccine that you can't kick the tires on, you can't examine, you don't even know what's in it. You're just, hey, I trust you. I can't see what's in it. I have no idea what you're shooting me up with it, but you are part of the government. It's not. I mean, I don't know. I've had healthcare workers. Part of the thing that woke me up. I mean, I guess at the time, God has, all things work for good for those who believe in God. And I had a skin condition. I go to the doctor. He prescribes me a pill, and it worked. It got rid of all these like little patches of like dark brownness I was getting on my skin. So I go back. I don't know if it was eczema or what it was. But I go back to the doctor, and the same doctor wasn't in there a year later. It was a different guy, and the other guy was out of the office. And I'm like, hey man, can I get this prescription filled? I got this skin condition back. I'm gonna try to get rid of it. He looks at that bottle and he's like, oh my God. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what is it? And he's like, I can't give you this. If I give you this again, you're not gonna have a liver. I'm like, whoa. And the way he looked at it, he looked like like frightened. Like I've never seen a doctor react like that before. Like a lot of the ones I know personally, they're pretty stoic. Like I mean, they got emotions and feelings, but they still are kind of like stoic when it comes to things like that. So I was kind of surprised that the dude had a reaction like that. I mean, he gave me some just some skin lotion that had like zinc and something else, and it might have like ivermectin in it, and got rid of my skin condition. But so I mean, it just goes to show you can't always just go by your doctor, you know. And even if something looks like it works, you can't just just blindly trust these doctors. You know, they are capable of killing you. You know, it's like they give you advice. They give you they're very knowledgeable. They're more knowledgeable than everybody else. But you gotta like look at it like they're giving me advice, not that they absolutely know what's best. They're giving me their best opinion, and that's what you gotta kind of look at it like. Jeff says Quaker Oatmeal did testing with Texas University on those kids. So should never buy Quaker Oatmeal and root against Texas University always if you're still a sports fan and you're watching college sports, which I'm no longer. Leah says Pence pretended to take the vax today. Extreme Reality Check put out a video. And Justice High Impact Flicks did too. Yeah, I did see. Him do it. Take the vax. I didn't see anything weird about it, but I imagine people saw that. Did everyone see that clip where they were given like some kind of injection and it was already pressed in, and then they like I don't know what the heck the person was doing. Like the doctor had already had it all pressed in and still put it into to the person's arm and everything, but it was already pressed inwards. It was really weird. I don't even know what that was all about. It seems, yeah. I mean, maybe if you're doing like hundreds of that, and you forget to throw away the needle, and you just pick up a used needle, or forget to take it out of your hand and throw it away, and you jam the next person with a dirty needle with no vax in it. Um, and I think I will go ahead and try to find that clip where. Trying to find a certain video. Vaccine shot plunger pushed in. Because that one's not readily popping up. I know. Wait a minute. I know who's got it on their channel. I've I guess her channel is like I am subscribed to my other channels, not this one. Letting her know in case she watches this video or still there. But there's one video where someone's taking taking a needle, and I'm not sure if it's this one. No, this one's got the retractable syringe. That's not the one I was looking for. Oops. Maybe it's this one. No, No. I thought she had the video. Maybe it's gone. I thought she had that one though, where they were giving someone a shot and the syringe was already pushed. The plunger was already pushed all the way in, and they still stuck someone with it. I thought that was really weird. It wouldn't be in my history. I had to go look through my phone. I'm not doing all that. But hey, Jeff, you say you don't do sports. I'm just curious, man. Did you see? I watched sports up until this year, and when I saw it this year, I quit. I was like, so I'm just curious. Did you quit this year, or did you just quit from years past? Because I tell you what, man. As soon as the NBA, when they locked down and like they went along, like they had that whole thing with that whole Rudy Gobert. I thought Rudy was cool, man. He just goes and grabs that mic and rubs his hands all over his face, and he didn't care. And I'm like, man, that he became like my favorite player. I was like, that was really cool, man, that he did that, man. He showed that he was not afraid of this whole thing, and he never got sick. Everyone got mad at him, but I mean, it's like, well, he never got sick. And then he had that teammate that went nuts on him. Because the teammate got sick, but who knows? I mean, maybe it was his teammate that was sick that made Rudy sick. Maybe just touching that microphone didn't do it, but they blamed him like it was all him, and his teammate had it too. And but they treated it like it was like a life-threatening, like, oh my gosh, you're gonna end my career, and I'm so mad at you, and that's how the other guy was reacting to it. Like, I'm so mad you got me, Corona, and it's like, well, no one's career died. No one's career even got like compromised. Like, he never developed a lung issue and got compromised, and you're crying about it. Leah says if the virus was real, lame stream media wouldn't have to sell it so hard. Just as I know, I'm tired of hearing I might have it because I don't. Just as I haven't been out of work at all this whole pandemic, and I'm fine. Yeah, same here. I was out for 3 weeks. My work slowed down so bad. Like, I'm someone who should never be out of work, ever, ever, ever. And it slowed down so much they had to lay me off. And that just lets you know that anytime I have extra hours, and I'm able, like today, I got extra time. Partly it was like I just didn't feel like I had to go into work today, and it was optional. But I mean, normally like the hours have been kind of slow, so. And with people doing all this shopping and everything and all this other stuff going on, I mean, should be busy, but not. And I don't know how it was for everyone else, but like on Black Friday, and I managed to talk to most of the people I know in Indiana around our whole state, and they said, I guess Black Friday everywhere, people said it was like a regular day, like you couldn't tell it apart from any other day of the week. Like, I actually think I drove around the whole town easier on Black Friday than I have. And it was like during the day too, right around 4 o'clock, and drove around the town without any problem. No rush hour traffic, nothing. And drove, the time between, what was it, like 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, drove around town. And it was like driving around during the day on maybe a Sunday. He says Jeff says he never did sports, been woke since he was a teen. He played sports, but that was about it. Okay, so Jeff says he's worked, but they've cut all the overtime, so it's been hard paying the bills. Yeah, it's a miracle I got the job I got, because the only reason why I got the job I got was because I keep the Sabbath. And so I would have settled for a lesser paying job. And instead, I took like a more dangerous job that I was terrified of, just because I was like, well, that's the only job that can give me sundown Friday till sundown Saturday off. So I guess I'll take this one. And man, even with the pay rate I took it for was horrible. I thought like the other jobs were like it only paid 5,000 more than this other job I would have worked, but the other job, like, they wanted me to work like 2 hours into Sabbath, and I said I just couldn't do it because basically, like, in the winter time, they said they might have to make me work until 6:30 at night, and so 6:30 at night into winter, that's an hour and a half into Sabbath, and I said I couldn't do it, so I took the more dangerous job. And it's like, yeah, I'm getting paid $5,000 more of a year, but I feel like I'm risking my life. But as soon as I was done with training, they gave the biggest raise in the history of that company, and so so it's like it wound up being like a $20,000 raise. So, and it was all because I just still scared of the job, and it makes me uncomfortable, but it's better than a lot of other options right now. And it says millions upon millions are not fine. Far from it. The mortgages and rents can't be paid. Vegas is dead. We are going to be a ghost town soon. Tumbleweeds and homeless. Man, I bet. Because, yeah, like, I imagine tourism's really dried up in a lot of places. So, I mean, imagine like Florida's taking a big hit, um, and especially Vegas. They might have to make you guys start paying taxes to make up for the whole lockdown they're doing. But just as he works in different forms of construction, so that's probably a pretty safe industry. But if you're not getting overtime, that means they're obviously not building as much. Oh, Florida is wide open. So, okay, because I know in Indiana, we're sort of open. It's still been like a partial lockdown the whole time, because it's like hours for like things like bowling alleys and stuff. It's like I notice at some of these, it's like, yeah, we're only open on the weekends, and I imagine they're probably getting some kind of partial stimulus, and um, and man, they had like destroyed all these like kids indoor playground places. Just like no one hardly goes there because no one wants to deal with the mask, and then like the people who believe in the virus and wear the mask, they don't want to go in a place like that because they're like, well, I'm going to die of corona. And then it's like the non-mask people don't want to go there because they don't want to wear masks. So there's always like maybe 4 families at these places at any given time. And I just can't even imagine how some of these places stay open if they keep doing this retardedness. Because it's like these like kids indoor playgrounds, just let people go in there without a mask. You know, the kids don't wear masks. I mean, most of the time they don't make the kids, if they're under 8, wear a mask. And even if they are over 8, they go jump into the ball pits or the foam pits. And I had to dig my 5-year-old out of there, and as I'm trying to dig him out of there, I'm seeing that he's swimming in mask. So all these masks have been on people's faces, the kids over the kid's nose and mouth. It might have something from their nose on the mask, and it's just all in there, you know. I mean, I'm not so scared about corona, but whatever else the kid's got. Okay, Jeff says the theme parks just won't open to full capacity. But hey, one thing, are they making people wear masks to Disneyland and things like that, or Disney World, these theme parks. Because I have not tried to go to a theme park because I haven't even wanted to deal with trying to do the whole HIPAA thing and driving, and because all these theme parks around me, I got to drive like an hour and a half to get to them. I'm not gonna drive an hour and a half and go HIPAA just to have someone make me leave. Jeff says 2021, the whole year killed America's. Oh, 2021, the year Joe killed America's most likely possible. I still don't. I still got my doubts that Joe Biden's going to be president. I don't know what they're going to do. I think you're more likely to see just complete utter chaos and destruction. It's like I think might see a little bit of it even if Trump overturns this election, but I don't see. I can't see Biden staying president for too long, and if he does, I mean, at least at that point, I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not even gonna pretend like America exists at that point because Kamala Harris isn't even a natural born citizen. So you got a complete foreigner. She's in my opinion, she's not even a U.S. citizen. So you got a complete foreigner holding office that might hold office as president, and if Trump lets them go into office, he should never agree to that transition. Because by even agreeing to that transition, you agree to let a foreigner occupy that office. You're letting that transition team know about the White House. That's like me letting a foreign official, not even part of this government, just letting some foreigner come into and then letting them know everything Joe Biden knows. Everything Donald Trump knows and Joe Biden knows. Kamala Harris, a foreigner, is gonna know. I think that's kind of crazy. And if Donald Trump actually just lets that happen, now, I mean, I think Donald Trump has controlled opposition anyway. But if he lets that happen, I mean, like, I mean, that's really, I mean, you're basically just handing control of the state to a foreign entity. So I'm not going to respect the Constitution at that. Well, I guess I'll respect the Constitution, but I'll consider America dead at that point. So Leah says, we are open, but small businesses are gone. Walmart, Costco, Walgreens are pretty much it. Restaurants, forget about it. Casinos, F the mask. So I guess casinos don't have to worry about it. The mask. So, okay, so they are masking at the amusement parks in Florida. And so Jeff says that's why he's not going. Leah says the Rio is closed for one, many more too. It's just a matter of time. Jeff says Comrade Harris is Canadian. I'm not sure. I can't remember what she is. I just remember when I was reading up on her that her parents were neither parent was a U.S. citizen when she was born, and you just because you're born on U.S. soil, you can't be a U.S. citizen. I know people try to make that argument that you can be, but it goes against logic. It really goes against the what's it called, the law of nations, which the Constitution is supposed to be based on, which our laws are supposed to be based on. The whole constitutional philosophy is, and in the law of nations, you're like, why would you expect someone with two foreign parents to be loyal to America? I mean, okay, I had a baby on U.S. soil. We go back, back to our country, and you're telling me that baby, and let's say I raised that baby in a foreign country for 30 years, and then that baby comes back to America, lives here for 10 years, and wants to run for president. you really consider that baby a natural born citizen that's going to be totally loyal to the country? I mean, maybe they will be, but the whole thing is, you're telling me out of 320 million people that America can't find someone that was born here with two citizen parents that's capable of running the country? I mean, like, if you need to look harder, you know? I mean, someone else, and if you want to be president, you should be humble enough just to step aside and let someone who's actual, and help find someone who's an actual citizen and that could do a capable job, natural born. But it's supposed to be a protection, so someone doesn't have a baby here, take them to a foreign country, raise them, and then basically, I mean, people would get so scared about Russian interference. Well, what if two Russians had a baby here and then took them back to Russia, and then you brought that baby back here to, when they're 30, live here for 10 years, go run for president? I mean, are you comfortable with them being president? Or I guess they could do it in 5 years, and run at the age of 35, be president. You're going to be comfortable with that? And that's what it's supposed to protect from. Okay, so it's kind of like, I guess Leah's like saying, when you go to the slots, it's kind of like being at a restaurant. You're allowed to you're allowed to be at the slot machine with a no mask, but I guess as soon as you leave the slot machine, you have to go mask back up just to go walk around and go to the bathroom and things like that. Just so that's why dual citizenship should be illegal for anyone in Congress. Yeah, it actually should be. But see, the thing is, she's not even a dual citizen, or I don't know. I mean, like, she's not like an American citizen at all. She's whatever citizenship her parents were. Just as you're right, Chris. What Leah says, both parents are supposed to be natural born to be president. We know Barry is BS. I'll say one thing. That's the one thing that, like, kind of made me disappointed with Trump right off the bat. Was I was like, aren't you gonna, like, when he's at those debates, he's like, yeah, I could, and he's debating Hillary. He's like, yeah, I got Obama to show his birth certificate. And I'm like thinking, when I heard him say it, I'm like, but dude, you should challenge this natural born citizen. Like, that's the thing to challenge, because the guy's not going to admit to a phony birth certificate. But one thing he already admitted to, and everyone else admitted to, was that his dad was Kenyan. Like, he was a dual citizen. He's got Kenyan citizenship and American citizenship, and right there should stop you from being considered a natural born citizen. You got dual citizenship. How can you be natural born? That's unnatural to have parents of two different kingdoms, basically. Like, and to be honest, when Barry or Barack Obama, whatever you want to call his name, whenever he got nominated, I felt like that was the end of America, to be honest, because I'm like, man, the fact that they let this guy become president, you let some guy that's foreign to the Constitution become president. Like, we didn't, like, I felt like for those 8 years we didn't even have a president. So I mean, I wasn't even sure if America was dead, but I was like, we don't have a president right now. We didn't, like, in my opinion, we didn't have a president for 8 years. He's not the first black president because he was never a president to begin with. And I'll consider whoever eventually is black. I really don't even believe in black or white or anything like that. And I believe we all come from Adam. We're all one race. So how can you have black and white people? But, just for everyone's, the little boxes they put them in, it's whoever is black and becomes the next president. I would consider them the first black president. But so Joe says America's been dead since Bush Sr. Yeah, but to me, I guess having like someone that's when you don't have a president for 8 years, it really makes it feel like America's dead. And man, I swear, if Joe Biden and Kamala steps foot in there, I mean, like, that's as dead as you can be. Like, that's not even like dual citizenship. That's like no citizenship at all, and you surrendered the office to a foreigner. That's a thing too, man. It's like Leah says Kamala's father is Jamaican and the mom is Indian and owns slaves too. Now, is that from the Jamaican and the Indian or just the Indian side? Because I know they got slavery in India still. Obama actually brought slavery back to Libya when he helped remove Gaddafi from office. They brought slavery back. So Leah says we were sold out when the Feds took over in 1913. Well, we definitely lost a lot of control. Because it's because whoever controls the money almost pretty much controls the fate of the nation, right? With that whole usury system, because that whole system of money is based 100% on usury. It's I don't know, what would you call that? Debt-based money system. So I think I'm gonna probably wrap this broadcast up. Don't know really what more I can add to it. Try to keep it about an hour. I think I DJ'd for an hour and talked about music for a little bit, and then did the political talk for an hour. So I might wrap it up because I don't know where to really go, what other things to touch on or anything. You know what? I think I did have something. Let me just make sure. You know, one thing about that vaccine too is while it doesn't have aborted fetal tissue in it, they did use aborted fetal tissue in developing it. And I always think that's kind of weird that here's Trump, Mr. Christian revival, so everyone keeps painting him out to be. And this is the guy that gave us warp speed. He gives us this vax and signs off on it. Because if he didn't sign off on warp speed, we wouldn't be getting warp speed. And you had to know how they developed these. You could have sat there and been like, so how are they going to develop this? Are they going to use fetal tissue? Because a lot of my voters are Christians, and they don't like aborting babies or using aborted fetal tissue in the development of products and things like that. Like, they don't want to use these products. So you're not going to use any of this stuff, or aborted fetuses aren't going to be used in it, are they? It's like you never asked that question. He just signs off on it. Well, he probably knew the answer and signed off on it anyway. And it's like you're spending all this money on a vax that no one wants, and that no Christian should want. Yeah, $6.2 trillion. That's exactly what Trump spent on the flu. when you count the lockdown, the stimulus, and all that he signed off on, and the development of a warp speed vaccine, $6.2 trillion. And he even said it the day he signed it on, what was it, like March 21st, I think? I know it was right around March 20th, maybe March 19th, somewhere right around there. He goes, this is the biggest check I signed. It's $6.2 trillion. Trillion. He emphasized trillion. I tell you, man, that was one of the scummiest things ever. I always think there's some kind of meaning to that whole eclipse that happened through America back in 2017. And I know in Indiana, it goes through here. Indianapolis, I believe, is I think Indianapolis and Bloomington are the two best places to see the eclipse when it comes back through here. And because you'll be right in the totality of it, and you got to be in the right in the center of the eclipse when it happens, or you don't get to see the full effect. But if anyone can, if someone can make the drive to go see it, I think you should go. Should go see it. I don't think you have to be in Indiana, but you do have to find the path of totality of it. But I think Indiana might actually be the spot to be in, but I'm not sure if you just can be in any spot within that line as it's going through America, as long as you're in the middle of that line. But it makes an X right through the center of America. And I always wonder, man, like it started in 2017, and that seems to be like I always kind of wonder if all this vax and this whole lockdown and everything is tying into that eclipse. And I always wonder, man, by 2024, August of 2024, I believe, is when that eclipse happens again. That's almost like a 7-year period of time, I think. And I just kind of wonder about the significance of that, because I don't know. It's an eclipse. Rarely it happens in a country, and then we got two in a 7-year period. So, and even at that time, I remember a lot of people wondering if that was going to be a judgment. And it's just really weird to see everything that's happened from that date till now, and to think about what's going to happen between now and to the 24th. I mean, not the 24th, but 2024. Oh, man, I remember one of these times I found the best way to think about Trump and the deep state, because I think Trump is controlled opposition, and I wanted to make a video where I take one of those like skits about good cop, bad cop that you see in a movie, where I think I saw it like in a comedy movie one time and one other movie, and I want to find that skit where someone's like, talking to like this like criminal, and they're playing around good cop, bad cop, trying to get the answers from someone, because I think that like really kind of sums up what I feel from Trump and the deep state, where they're both on the same team, but one's playing good cop, one playing bad cop, and Trump's a good cop going, man, I don't want to do this. I'm trying to be your friend. I really don't want to do this. I don't want to do this lockdown. That's the one thing I meant to have set up, man, the next time I do a show. I think I want to set up that little clip at the beginning just to sum up what I think about Trump. I'm just kind of like looking through a couple of notes I wrote down between the week because there were just a couple of things I thought was of interest, and I want to make sure I've covered them all. One thing I still see these like Democrats pushing for that Medicare for all, and the one thing I always argue with my friends about that, and like all these like popular so-called progressives, I always call them regressives because I think Lincoln was a true progressive, and that these people are abusing the words by calling themselves progressives when they're really regressives. But what good does it do to have Medicare for all if you got like this system where I got like we can cure coronavirus with ivermectin for pennies. But could you imagine if we had Medicare for all? It's like, yeah, it's like we can afford to like put everybody on ventilators now and just jack up the price, spending so much money on ventilators. And these people are just going to die anyway, but we managed to have all this money dedicated to really bad healthcare, a really bad system. And I even try to argue with these people like, oh no, we need to have the FDA control who can have drugs and what drugs they can have. We don't want people getting high, yet this comes from the same people that smoke pot and everything that I know. And it's like, and I'm like, what if a doctor did think it could cure them? Shouldn't they be able to prescribe it? Like some of the things I hear from people is like really weird to me. But then it's like, they don't want like things like, oh no, you can't give a person hydroxychloroquine. That it's like a doctor we got to listen to the FDA and stuff, and that's part of the problem. So you want to give them a ventilator, which costs like like what, 40,000. Well, I think a ventilator costs more than that. I can't remember how much a ventilator costs to make, but you want to give them this device. It might cost like thousands of dollars to make, and then like 40,000 to keep people on. Yet you could just give them ivermectin, but you're withholding ivermectin from them. But yet they still want. See, that's the whole thing. You got to fix that system. Like you got to let people be able to be cured and use cheap cures because there's treatments that work for cancer. But no, these Democrats will cry for Medicare for all, but yet you can treat cancer with things like hydroxychloroquine, and it does help boost certain cancer medications from what I read. And you could maybe give them that dog dewormer, that like, what is it, fembendazole or something like that, that medicine found in dog dewormer, that can be used to treat certain cancers. And so I'm wondering if you gave them that and hydroxychloroquine, would that fix their cancer? And CBD oil, I heard that all the combination of fembendazole and CBD oil works to cure cancer. I think even HTC along with it. But yet, like, somebody giving people Medicare, Why give them Medicare when we're gonna sit there and spend it on expensive chemotherapy treatments that don't work, make people sick, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to administer. So, oh, the stream is freezing. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Lena says the vaccine is cultured from aborted baby and animal, but vegans will take the vax. Well, some of them will take any vax. Like the mRNA vaccine. It's in the vaccine. Nothing in it came from an animal. It's like some synthetic DNA template that they somehow download this code onto it, and then they inject it into people. But the development of it did come from aborted fetal cells. But there are some. I think there's like one vaccine. What's it? AstraZeneca and maybe Johnson and Johnson. I think one of those might use aborted cells and animals to cultivate the virus. It says yes, trying to sink us into more debt. The blood moons, referring back to the celestial signs. Leah also says they all got paid with computer funding money stolen off the backs of the future unborn. It's called slavery. This thing they go and they experiment on the children and then they basically sell them into slavery by putting them into debt as soon as they're born. Jeff says it's all part of prophecy. That's another thing about this whole lockdown and everything going on now. Like, there's part of me that's like, when I see everything happening, I don't know if it's so much the New World Order is so smart as much as it also is God allowing it to happen, because he's allowing this judgment to occur, and it's kind of obvious to those who know God what's going on. I mean, if you really know God, I mean, you got light in your eyes, you can just look around and see what's going on. And like, I don't think like the devil is I think the devil's more obvious than what people think. Like, you look at like the Pope and that audience hall. I mean, that's no mystery that the Pope is now, whether you think he is the Antichrist or the seed of Antichrist, you gotta at least say that Catholic Church is like the great whore. I mean, all you gotta do is just look at audience hall and just see like that whole, how it's shaped like a snake head. And I really believe like God allows certain things to be very obvious, so what's happening. And when you let this kind of entity take control of your country, take control of the world, take control of financial institutions, take control of the medical institutions, because Fauci and Redfield are both Roman Catholics, and Bill and Melinda Gates. You can see Melinda Gates meeting with the Pope and shaking his hands and things like that. You can see Monsanto making deals with the Vatican. And, they send reps to the Vatican when they want things done. And Monsanto is all into all this like GMO and controlling the food, wanting to control the food of the world and things like that. So, when I think of this whole lockdown happening, I think it's something that it's like a judgment that God's allowing to take place. I think America's been wicked, and he's given them time to repent. Now, I'm still going to do what I can to resist the New World Order. I don't think I'm supposed to sit there and like go along with the plan. I think, like I try to point out, look what they're doing, people. Look, ivermectin can cure this. Doctor's been talking it since 8 months ago, and there's no need to lock it down. Point out things that are going on that should wake people up, to what's going on. And if they still want to like give in to the delusion, then then I guess judgment's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen. I don't think there's no stopping it, but I do try to approach it like it can be stopped. But I mean, I kind of can read the leaves, and you can see what season it is. And Leah Lawson says like gang bankers, Bloods, Crips, red and blue. My drugs are better, LOL. Like, oh, gang bangers, that's all the same thing. Red and blue, Democrat and Republicans they're kind of just like the Crips, red and blue. Just as dedicated for all, a good way to never get any medical attention. Just as FDA fraudulent Doctors Association. That's a very good description. Leah Lawson says, FYI, a virus has to be injected into our bloodstream. It's not alive. Rona is a common flu, cold. Coronavirus is patented, not organic. Now, I did see it does have a patent on it. And it just said straight up coronavirus. Right? It didn't say this type of coronavirus. I think when I first read that and read the actual patent, I can't remember if I read all the patent or not. So maybe it did have the code of the virus in there somewhere, but I know the part I at least read on it, it just said coronavirus and it didn't really differentiate like what coronavirus is patented. Are you telling me you just patented the whole coronavirus? And if you patented the whole thing, that means you created the whole thing. I always thought that was like a really odd patent. Jeff says there are many things that would work, but the Rockefellers put a stop to that. Leah Lawson says cancer grows in oxygen-deprived bodies. Mask. Yeah, I know those those masks really do change your pH levels, and I know people have heard of people doing something to change their pH levels in their bodies to cure cancer. I know there's been a video about some guy that did that. I think he had prostate cancer, and he did a video where he said he cured it by changing the pH levels in his body. So I don't know what these masks do. I haven't really studied it, what they do to the pH levels in the body. But I do know that these oxygen detector and carbon dioxide detection devices, part of the way they work is they detect the pH levels in air. So it's obviously doing something when you're breathing. It does something to affect the pH levels, and so so you're breathing into a mask, you're affecting the pH levels in your body. There's no telling what you're doing by offsetting that and throwing that out of whack. Leah Lawson says, look into DEWs and geoengineering weather control. Look up. They are blocking the sun with chemicals. No sun all year in Vegas. Wow. And she says, I have lived here since 1978. It's always been mostly sunny here, no more. That's the thing I noticed this year in Indiana. I thought it was particularly more cloudy than usual. To be honest, I've always been a little skeptical that they could control the weather by just spraying chemicals up in the air. I know they can do it to a certain point. But man, after this year, it's like they either are doing something to it or they just happened to pick the one year to pull this pandemic when it was the most cloudiest out. And knew that people would have lower exposure to sunlight. And I did read online, when it says there's some places you can go that tells you the amount of sunshine places could get, and I just randomly clicked a link and was reading people's comments, and they were talking about how in certain areas in Europe they were talking about how it was either May or June, and they were yeah, it's been 34 days since we've seen sunlight. Or had or we only had so many hours of sunlight in 30 days and it's a record low. And they kept talking about record lows of sunlight. So I have seen other people, so you're not the only one who thinks you're seeing that, because I have read comments on websites saying that they saw record lows in sunlight, where it's just random people leaving comments talking about that. Leah Lawson says HIV is patented too, and SARS, etc. That's something I haven't looked into. Guess I could HIV patent. Yeah, I guess it says Robert, in 1984, Robert Gallo filed a United States patent application for his invention, the HIV/AIDS virus. Normally, when a patent is filed and approved as Dr. Gallo's was, anyone who uses the product or invention owes royalty or payments to the inventor. I'm just reading something off of Rence's site. So, PubMed says part of the AIDS virus is patented. Oh, I'm curious about that. So this is off of the government's website, NIH, National Institute of Health. And they say part of AIDS is patented. So there's definitely truth to that comment. Well, I wish I could see more. That's interesting. Oh shoot, I might have looked at that Quora thing. Okay, so this little link on Quora says it is not true that AIDS, the disease, nor HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, are patented. You can verify this by doing patent searches. Diseases are not patentable inventions. But I have seen that there was coronavirus. I saw that myself. So I don't know what this person's talking about, because I could have swore I saw coronavirus when I did this a while ago. I thought I went right to the patent site. But the government site said part of it's patented. So Quora's got something wrong. So they say he's got a patent on the virus genome. Does not mean it was created in a lab. So Robert Gallo first published his isolation and identification of HIV in 1994 and patented this in 1985. So I guess you can patent the genome. I don't know. How can you? How do you, like, the genome already exists? I don't know. Even understand how you can patent the genome on something that exists. It's like if I write something and it's already created, and you read what I wrote and you print it out, or maybe you write down something that I say and then you put it down, and I mean, isn't that kind of like the same thing? And you're saying you can, like, but it's already created, and all you're doing is just writing down the code, like the code. So if I say something and you wrote it down in English or Spanish, you can patent that. I mean, that just seems really That's just something really weird to hold a patent on. I did want to see this. So, I don't know if this is true. I'm just kind of going to a random site. I don't know, but it says Fauci holds 4 COVID-19 related patents. But 4 key HIV components of the COVID-19 lab created virus. I'll have to check that out later. Yeah, I mean, was I on Google? Maybe I was. I thought I had it set to DuckDuckGo. Maybe it flipped me back. I thought it was on like DuckDuckGo. So, okay, I am gonna wrap this broadcast up though, because I'm getting kind of tired. I work nights, so I stay up kind of late to try to keep myself on schedule. But just as Chris look up controlling the weather by 2025, written by the Air Force years ago. Okay, that'd be interesting. Just as Zika was patented by the Rockefellers back in 1949. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. It's poison. Those fires were no accident in California and Australia. Yeah, I tend to think they weren't. I think they had other purposes, like they wanted people. I keep hearing this one guy who does a web broadcast from California, and he's always coughing, and he says it's from all the fires that were going on. So I kind of wonder, did they light those fires to try to make people sick? And I always wonder, man, like, because there was something in the air, and I'm always here in Indiana. I always wonder if, and it was different. Our sun looked different when all those fires were going on really bad. I always wonder if those fires in California was like doing something to the sky, or maybe they were doing something to the sky on top of the fires happening, and they were using the fires to cover it up and putting something up in the sky, something else. I remember when AIDS first broke out, because I was born in 1974, and so I kind of remember growing up and everyone being super scared of AIDS and thinking that anyone could get it, and you don't want to touch anything. Someone could have AIDS. And like it says, I saw it on government website too. It's not hidden. People just do not look. We are the news now. Yeah, pretty much. We might not be the news for long, though. I mean, I'm seeing like things just aren't staying up on the web. They're really making it hard. I think I gave some of my moderators the ability to. I made people moderators just so they could post links, and they were complaining about it today. And so I stopped by someone else's channel, and someone else was like complaining that their mod, like they were telling their mods, "Hey, post this link," and the mods started being like, "Well, I can't." And he tried to post links to his own channel, and he's like, "Oh, you can't see my links?" And they're like, "No." It's like, well, I'm trying to drop links into my own channel. What's going on? So I think there's something going on YouTube now, and I'm not sure if is it just a programming error, or is this another way they're trying to control things to where they're not letting people drop links into chat rooms so people can't share information as easily? It's like they keep making it harder and harder not to share information. Well, no, the one thing, just as the vaccine changes you from natural to man-made, and it does have that kind of ability. Because, like I said, I don't believe it changes your DNA, but I believe the real harm people need to focus on is how can it affect your hormones? Because hormones are made of proteins, and what does the
mRNA vaccine do? It creates a spike protein that's supposed to mimic coronavirus, which your body attacks, and it's supposed to be so super safe. But if you can design these mRNAs to create other proteins, you could actually have a batch of this vaccine where you decide to make some of the mRNAs in the vaccine actually create the COVID spike protein. But then you could also probably have other mRNAs in there that can make hormones. So I don't know and I don't know how long it could make these hormones for, and what all it can do. I just know you are capable of using mRNA to make hormones. I'm not, like I said, I don't know how long it would last though, or how long that process keeps going on. And hormones definitely affect like having kids and gene expression. I mean, that could be the big thing. If you're pregnant and you get the vax, could it cause certain hormones to happen, which causes the genes to express differently? So while it won't change your DNA, it might change the way that DNA was going to express itself in your baby. And Jeff says, "Quartz ruled natural, it cannot be owned, but man-made can." Yeah, I always remember what those Monsanto, what Monsanto did to farmers by suing them when they're just poor farmers trying to grow organic crops, but the GMO crops somehow pollinated onto their crops, and they started having the crops with the similar DNA, which was the genetically altered DNA, and so they could sue them for growing those crops without their permission. I think something like that happened. AIDS and like 9/11 CGI planes, hiding the info. All right, man. Yep. Great talking to everybody. I made it through everyone's comments. I know I'm getting like really tired, so I appreciate everyone stopping by and appreciate the comments and everything. And I hope you all have like a good night, and thanks.